we're running out of time. It really is coming down to, just the ordinary folk becoming aware that the environment you're not a tree hugger. This actually makes sense. It makes sense to be preserving these environments for our own health, emotional and physical health, air quality, water quality. You need these buffers, these untouched land. And it'll only become more apparent as more and more of this type of thing is vanishing around us, that at some point we'll wake up and go, my gosh, thank goodness somebody did do something in a timely fashion.
Really what it's about is a community-based, citizens-based model for conservation. And why this is important in Canada is that you find that governments, who most Canadians would say probably have a responsibility to look after land and conservation and species, governments tend to have very structured approaches to conservation and protection. And typically what you'll find, for example, in the federal government is that there are only 3 types of protection offered by the federal government for land in Canada. One is a national park, another is a wildlife management area, and a third is a migratory bird sanctuary. And these designations flow in a way that's very structured against set criteria and often miss very important local and regional natural resources, landscapes, and natural features that are tremendously important to local communities and very much worthy of protection and conservation. And this is where land trusts and conservancies are nationally filling a very important role, filling a lot of gaps that fall between provincial and federal programs. Certainly on the Rideau system, and I'm talking about from Kingston to Ottawa, the broader watersheds that are involved in those areas. If you look at what government does in the Rideau system, and I'll focus on the federal government, Parks Canada performs a very important role. They look after the Rideau Waterway. The locks, the canals, the dams, the actual water courses are under the authority of Parks Canada. But if you think of that broader Rideau landscape, the Government of Canada, through Parks Canada, can achieve very little in the broader landscape. It really comes down to finding some better conservation methods and more innovative approaches to achieving some conservation results. And the Rideau Waterway Land Trust has pioneered this in the Rideau Corridor.
The Rideau Waterway Land Trust is a member of the Canadian Land Trust Alliance and maintains a vibrant membership. Currently, this land trust has 18 preserved properties and conservation agreements, all within the Rideau corridor between Kingston and Ottawa.
I think that's what's so exciting, living so close to an extension of our living area, and it's just wonderful that, the spring, if you've seen any of the flowers, the trilliums are just massive, and it's a sight to be seen, and then it just changes. Now into late spring we have the yellows and the purples and the daisies, and it's just a joy to walk through there, and we wanted to preserve that. The thought of a building developing in the midst of all of that beautiful surrounding area, it was just heartbreaking.
And so by, I think it was October of 2008, the land was transferred to the title of Rideau Waterway Land Trust. The whole process was donated under the eco-gift system, which from start to finish was about 3 months. Rideau Waterway Land Trust was very instrumental, as were people working with the federal government. Couldn't have had better cooperation and help. One reason we talked to Rideau Waterway Land Trust was because of their policy for human access to the property in a controlled way, in a sensible way.
You don't see snowmobiles flighting through there and ATVs. It seems to be respected in terms of the solitude and the peacefulness of the land and the wildlife as well. Well, it's important that we found an organization that coincided with our ideas. They just agreed with sort of the principles that we found were very important.
Who is to know in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, what sort of effects will be going on by human development in this area? We could hope that this property will remain untouched and let nature do its thing with it, and other people who will be living nearby can come in and enjoy it. When you're confronted with a donation like that, there's always going to be a technical aspect to kind of get over, and it was great that the Rideau Waterway Land Trust could deal directly with our lawyers and our professional people. It was serious concern. You didn't want to just hand it off to just anyone. Certainly part, if not all, of the consideration for donating the land was so that others could also go in and have a place that they too could go and connect with nature. That's the context of how we saw the donation. That is it.
I think the way the Rideau Waterway Land Trust approaches conservation is very dynamic, and it's not a matter of just locking up land and natural resources for pure protection. There's really a vision which is to make sure that there are experiential and recreational benefits available. And a great example of this is the Rock Dunder initiative. Rock Dunder is a truly significant landform on the Rideau system, and it was really visionary, I think, of the Rideau Waterway Land Trust to take a look at that and say, this is important for all of the Rideau. It's important for the people that value and want to protect the character of the Rideau. It's not just an area that's set aside for pure conservation where someone has acquired it, puts up a fence and keeps the people out. It's really a sustainable model for use and experience on the Rideau, maintaining trails, providing information to the public, which has a great educational value because it's not just about Rock Dunder, it's about sustainable use of the resources in general. The way in which that was achieved was a real partnership effort of private and public organizations, volunteers, and individual donors who all saw the value added in achieving this conservation outcome. So the resources to acquire the property, the financial resources, were accumulated and bundled by the Land Trust, who served the role of honest broker in bringing together the resources, the people, and achieving the conservation outcome. And now, under the stewardship of the board, will, in the years ahead, ensure that Rock Dunder, as a natural area, is properly sustained for the benefit of the people of the Rideau corridor. The Rideau Waterway Land Trust has now achieved 18 conservation initiatives. All of these have been great successes. They've been done in different ways with different landowners, to not just achieve the conservation result in the short term, but to be able to sustain it through time. And this is the legacy part of the Land Trust that's so important, is that what's achieved today and in the coming years is a legacy that will endure and benefit future generations.